Hello again, everybody. In this video, I'm just going to run through a few of the major concepts and terms that I want each of you to be aware of and familiar with as we move forward in this course. So without any further ado, let's get into it here. And bada bing. So the major concepts, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hopefully my math isn't off. Two major approaches that we're going to be focused on primarily in this class. So this is not an overview of historical teaching methods in ESL. We are moving forward in this class within the approach of language teaching, both in the communicative and task-based language teaching approaches. So I missed some capitalization. Hopefully you'll forgive me there. But communicative language teaching is a focus within the classroom of viewing language as a communicative tool. So everything you do in the classroom is focused on enabling students to communicate meaningfully. Task-based language teaching grew out of communicative language teaching, was very focused on selecting specific tasks for learners, giving them everything they need to accomplish that task. And those tasks should be very real world based. So it needs to have a non-linguistic outcome, meaning that the grade or the successful completion of the task isn't just using correct language, but it's actually being able to accomplish a real, tangible outcome. For example, writing a letter, or for example, completing a order, pizza order, right? That's a real world, tangible outcome, as opposed to just being able to say the correct words. They're actually able to really do that. The other thing that we need to focus a lot on is input, specifically meaningful and comprehensible input. There's major areas or schools of thought on input, primarily headed by an individual named Stephen Krashen, but also another individual, Bill Van Patten, who I worked with, is very, very much focused on this idea that all a learner needs is comprehensible input. What is comprehensible input? Well, it's language that a learner can understand, although it might take effort to understand it. So right now, you probably don't need to spend a lot of effort to understand what I am saying here. However, if you are a language learner and you can still understand what I'm saying, but you have to listen closely and you have to kind of think about it a little bit, it's comprehensible and it's meaningful because it's not just language for language's sake, but it's helping them gain that language and get the meaning out of it, even though it takes effort. Interaction, feedback. We've talked about those a little bit in the last video. These are important concepts to be aware of, especially as a language teacher. You need to provide your students with both of these things. You want to give them opportunities with interaction, not just with you, but with other people. Feedback, your students expect it, they want it. If you don't give it, they're going to feel like you're not a good teacher. It's just the reality. Interlanguage. Now that's a little bit of more of a complex topic, but interlanguage is basically, so you have a learner, here's a learner, my hand is a learner, right? They just know English right now, but they want to become a French speaker. They want to become a bilingual. Well, they start over here with English. They want to move over here to French. I said French, right? Well, the space between these two things as they move along that track, so they're here, they're not quite at being a full-on bilingual French speaker. They're over here somewhere. And remember, they started over here. They're between two languages. That's your interlanguage. Your interlanguage system is between English and French. It's not fully French yet. So it's got some aspects of English because we use our first language as a reference point as we move towards our second language, towards becoming a bilingual. I know that's short. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, I'm repeating myself with feedback. I think copy paste was not my friend there. So we only have 5. So excuse my error there, but these are important concepts moving forward. Now, last but not least, a word on historical methods. If you've taken the methods for SLA theory or the materials and methods course, you probably talked a lot about these. Historical language teaching methods. There's a lot of them. They are very common in a lot of different areas. Again, as I said, we're going to be focusing on communicative and task-based language teaching. However, there's lots of different ways of doing it. But I would like to say that you just want to learn from our history. Pick those approaches and methods from our history of language teaching to utilize in your classroom. Kind of view it as a quiver. You pull out a different tool or arrow depending on the context in which you're teaching. So hopefully it makes sense. Again, we went through a lot. Hopefully it's informative. See you on the next one.